It's time for a true showdown. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with, well, another first impression showdown. I know it wasn't that long ago that we did our last one, but this one is kind of special. This one's going to be kind of different because it's going to be our first true first impression showdown since 2018. Hear me out. So, I did the very first impression showdown in 2018. This was before I started doing them regularly or anything. It was a showdown between Inuyashiki and K-On! Season 2, and the idea was, okay, which of these do I want to react to? And I believe I had the caveat in it for that first one of which do I want to react to first, because I planned on getting to both of them. And although I don't think I ended up sticking with K-On! Eventually, Inuyashiki ended up being the one I went with originally, and I love that. And then I came back to K-On! At some point in the future after that. And I don't think I ended up sticking with it. But this is kind of the idea for what we're doing today. We are having two shows, just two. They are both shows that have just started airing this spring season. Well, one of them I think is just all released at once, but you know. And I'm going to be reacting to both of them. Almost guaranteed I'm going to be at least, starting to react to both of them. Even outside of this, I mean. The only reason why this is a first impression is because I don't know which I want to get to first, and I only have one slot ready for that. So here's how this is going. For those of you who may be new to the channel, a first impression on this channel is simply as it sounds. I check out the first episode or so of a show and determine if it's something I want to continue reacting to, continue watching on my own time, or if it's something I would rather just not watch at all and drop. However, today it's going to be a little different because, again, both of these will be reacted to, but instead they are going to be competing to see which gets reacted to first, which gets the open slot I talked about. So that might be your next question then. What open slot? We're reacting to a bunch of other stuff already. Is something ending that we're going to replace this with? Well, there are some things that are going to be ending soon, but that's not what this is for. We're opening a second Monday slot. Or I guess technically third, if you're counting the YouTube stuff as well. So we're going to have a second series slot on Monday. And the winner of this is going to take that slot. And you may be thinking like, oh, I'm taking on too much, and maybe. But right now I think I can handle it, and if at any point we need to cut back again, we can cut back again. I want to react to more stuff right now. I just want to get into that groove of things at this moment. And again, it might not stick like this. In fact, after we end up getting through these next two shows, which both of them might not even be in this same slot, we might end up dropping this slot, though. This slot is specifically because of these two shows, because I don't want to wait, and I already have plans for the other stuff that's going to be ending soon, so, yeah. But we might end up keeping it, you never know. It's a matter of, like, uncertainty at this point, how this is going to end up going, but for now, I think we'll be good on this. So, as you can see from the thumbnail and everything, the two shows we're going to be checking out today are Iyanu, Child of Wonder, which I think is Disney, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then we have the new Devil May Cry series. Like I said, I plan to react to both of these anyway, It's just one of them is going to take the slot now, and the other one will be right after that. So these will automatically be set for this slot no matter what. That's how we're going with this. This slot, like, once, like, let's say I do Devil May Cry first. I'm not going to switch to something else before going into Iyanu. I'm going to go to Iyanu, unless I just don't like it from this first episode. Because that's pretty much the only way this is going to change. If I just don't like the first episodes that much, to where it's like, oh, I just don't want to react to this. Or if it, like, really gives me the vibes of this is something I would much, much, much prefer to watch on my own time. Because there are shows that I really just don't want to react to specifically, and would rather watch on my own. Squid Game is an example of that, just to give you one. But with these are two I wanted to check out, but I otherwise just don't have time for, don't have a space for. So that's why we're doing this. We're adding an extra space to Monday. So for the mid-card and like the on-screen schedule that you see during the reactions, the spot that's currently listed for YouTube is just going to be switched over to these. YouTube reactions will still happen on Mondays as well. They're just not going to be shown on the visible schedule in the videos. That's the only difference. But we'll still be doing the YouTube reactions or YouTube adjacent reactions every week as normal. So that being said, let's talk about what I know about these. So we'll start with Iyanu, Child of Wonder. So I know that this is a series that takes place in a fictional part of Africa, I believe. And it's like kind of a magical superhero type series of sorts. I know that it is like primarily or almost, if not entirely, black cast and everything. Black characters. And it is, like, from what I've heard, very deep with culture. And saying this as a clearly white person, very white, I like to check out shows like this to educate myself in a way, because I'm not educated in that stuff, partially due to, being white, but also because the school systems here in America refuse to teach shit like that, even back in my day. Like, would very much focus on a white European central view of immigration to America and just perspective in general. And so I like to watch a lot of these shows, not only to like give them, the respect and credit they deserve, but also to like learn something about these cultures and stuff that I just never learned about growing up. And this goes not just for like African cultures, but like any cultures. This is why I love like when Amphibia delved into Anne's Thai background and stuff like that, or the Hispanic background for Luz Noceda in The Owl House. I love that shit because it's important. So many people getting to see like main characters of shows like represent them in this way is fantastic and something that we should be celebrating. And any of those assholes out there who are like bitching about it being DEI or some shit can fuck right on off. Because they're just, very thinly veiling their racism. And it's just stop. like, racism really, like, in 2025, we really need to stop that fucking shit at this point. It's like, it's 2025. Like, come on, people. There is no excuse you can give at this point. Like, racism is inherently bad. It's known to be inherently bad. It's like, if you're racist at this point, you're just a bad person. Like, you can't even use, like, an excuse of, oh, that's the way I was raised. With the amount of information in our world today, you can't use that excuse. Because it's like you have every opportunity to pull yourself out of that. Believe me, I did. I did and said a lot of fucked up shit when I was younger because of the ways I was raised. And I pulled myself out of it. Thanks to help from others, of course, but also by my will. I wanted to get out of that mindset because I realized how fucked up it was. But yeah, it's like I want to I want to celebrate these kind of shows being able to like showcase and highlight people of color in this way when so much of the history of animation has been very white centric. I think it's great to see, and I'm very excited to see what this series has to offer for us. Now, the second series we'll be going into today is Devil May Cry. This is the second animated series for this video game. Because, yes, Devil May Cry is based off a video game series that I've never actually played. But, what do I know about this? So, like I said, it's the second animated series we've had for Devil May Cry. The first was a 2007 anime. This is a American cartoon that is done in an anime style. In fact, I believe that it's actually produced and animated by Studio Mir, who is the same studio that did so for Voltron Legendary Defender and one of my favorites, The Legend of Korra. So that's exciting. But yeah, it is an American cartoon. It's just anime inspired. And I know that Dante, the main character, is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, who is a famous English dub voice actor known for roles such as Ichigo Kurosaki in Bleach, among many, many, many other things. I've actually gotten to meet him at a convention at Youmacon. Back in the day, this was like 2014, 2015, something like that. So one of the first guests I ever met at a convention, actually. But he's done a lot of other things too. Like he was one of the Black Rangers for Power Rangers. I think he took over after Walter left, who was the previous Black Ranger for Mighty Morphin. Because Johnny Young Bosch was the Black Ranger in the Power Rangers movie, the one with Ivan Ooze. So it's like I don't know exactly like why he took over or exactly when or how it happened or whatnot, but yeah. And again, he's done a lot of different anime roles. He's a pretty prolific name. So that's fun that they got him. I do also know that this series has a lot of like big name artists doing music for it, like Evanescence. I have not heard any of this music yet, but I do know that it's in there. Outside of songs that like are just songs that have already existed for decades and stuff that I've heard are in this. It's like, yeah, I've definitely heard those songs. Like, doesn't Papa Roach do a song for this? I think. And maybe it's not Papa Roach. Maybe it's a different band. I don't know. But anyways, the point is, like I said, I've never played the games, but I guess I know the gist of it. Like, Dante's like a demon hunter, right? And he's very much a kind of goofy character. He doesn't take things too seriously. He has a brother named Virgil, who's more than likely going to be in this, I feel. And in terms of characters, that's the only ones I know. I don't know much of anything about the story or any boss fights or anything like that. So there might be a lot of references in this that I just won't get. That'll kind of fly over my head. But I'm very curious, nonetheless, to see how this is. Because we've had some pretty good video game adaptions lately. Especially in the animated sphere. Like, Castlevania, obviously, is the one that comes to mind within this kind of realm of things. So hopefully this continues kind of that level of quality. Um, I have heard that there is some controversy with this series. I don't know what exactly about, but I've heard people crying out the DEI and stuff, and it's like, okay, curious about that. Especially since, people who shout that kind of shit are just, morons in the first place. Um, and I've heard, is this the series? I think it is. I think this is the series that IGN, I think it's IGN, just gave a really like low score to, and people are like saying like, oh well, if they gave a low score to it, then it's probably great, because they are known for giving like unpopular scores to things. Um, I think it was this. I think it was like a 5 or something that they gave it. And my view on it. Oh, no, no, no. It was Lazarus, I think. I think it was Lazarus that they gave that score to. I don't know what they gave this then. But either way, I've heard that people have been very divided on it. And hopefully it just ends up, being good for me. Because I like to form my own opinions. I'm not going to like go with what other people say. Even if they're names that I typically trust and typically agree with, I'm still going to like form my own opinions as I watch, because I just believe that to be the right way to engage in any media. I don't believe it's right to form an opinion based on something you haven't seen yet, for one. And to form it based on someone else's view of it is just, I don't like that. Because you could watch something and have an entirely different view on it than what a reviewer or a critic or someone has to say. That happens a lot with me. And I've been at points where I've very much disagreed with the popular opinion on a show or movie, and even games, and that's going to keep happening. And I hope it does, because again, I think that's the right way to engage with media, to form your own opinions based on nothing but how you view it. And if you like something that the majority doesn't, then there's nothing wrong with that. And if you dislike something that the majority loves, there's nothing wrong with that. Speaking of video game adaptations, you could go with Cyberpunk Edge Runners or Arcane for that for me. I do not like either of those shows. Pretty much at all. And yet they're extremely popular. I can't stand them. But the majority of people love them. And that's fine. It's all subjective. But yeah, with these two shows today, I'm just hoping we get something good. So here's how this is going to work for, once again, all those who are new. So when we redirect it, there's going to be 2 links in the description below to redirect to. One for each reaction we're doing. So you can go to one and then go to the other after. They're not going to be in the same video, just in case you only want to watch one of them as well. The progress bar here, as well as the timestamps below, will also have separate listings for the afterthoughts of each one. So there will be a separate section for the afterthoughts of Devil May Cry and a separate section for the afterthoughts of Iyanu. Is it Iyanu or Iyanu? It's Iyanu. Of course, that might even technically be pronouncing it wrong. I don't know. I haven't heard it said. I'll correct myself, obviously, as necessary. But yeah, it's one of those cases where it's like, I'm not sure. but I'll correct as I hear it said. But yeah, so there's going to be a separate afterthoughts for each of those, and then a final afterthoughts to give my overall like consensus on these two. And again, whichever one I like more, we'll be reacting to first, and that will start right away. Well, continue right away next week, and then the next one will just happen afterwards. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely excited to see what we got in store for us. So let's just get into it. I know these pre-thoughts have been long, but let's actually start with the reactions and get on board with this. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back with the Iyanu Child of Wonder portion of the Afterthoughts. If you are looking for the Devil May Cry portion of the Afterthoughts, this is not it. Just check in the timestamps in the description below or on the progress bar to find where you need to go. But we will begin with spoilers for Iyanu Child of Wonder in 3, 2, 1, now. So let's get the negatives out of the way here. This was really fucking poorly animated. Like, I've heard people talk about like certain anime and stuff, like I guess season 2 of Blue Lock and various other things, where it's just like, oh, they're just moving around a PNG of the character and stuff. I think they were literally doing that here. There's a couple points, most notably when she's shooting her arrow towards the corrupted beast in the to defend the other kids in the city, in the inner city, and it shows like her literally shaking around, a still image of her literally just shaking around, and it's like, what the fuck is that? It looked so bad. On top of that, there's a lot of characters whose expressions do not match what they're saying. One such example is that bully kid. Like, when the other kid was actually starting to stand up to him, he's like, don't you do this, but he has like this big grin on his face the entire time. His expression isn't changing properly, and it's like, oh my god, that is so bad. And the lip syncs are also just absolutely fucking terrible. None of the characters look like they're matching what they're saying at all. It's like one of the early anime dubs where it's like, you know, from the like 2000 the 90s or 2000s, where the voices don't always match exactly right and it looks really off. That's what it was like here. It was not good. Even during like scenes that are supposed to be more, not necessarily action oriented, but more intense and everything, it's just not very well animated at any point. The art style is fine. I like the art style, but the animation itself, the actual movement of characters and whatnot, is just not good. It's like really not good. My other big issue is that this is excessively fast-paced. You're given kind of the backstory to everything at the very beginning, and then you just kind of rush through this entire situation that feels like it should be 2 episodes worth of content. It doesn't give you really the chance to breathe. You're just kind of thrust into it with everyone and everything, and just kind of like, it's just kind of go, 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 and you don't really get a chance to get a grasp of anything. So from what I gathered, and I do not remember the names, I apologize. It's like, I just can't think of like how the names are said and everything. Um, this one woman is like this warrior priestess, and all of her tribe, I guess, were banished to the forest part of Elu. Elu is the overall city. It's a walled city, kind of like in Attack on Titan or something. And there's different portions of it. There's the inner city that we saw. There's kind of this slum portion, even within the inner city, though. But then there's like this forest portion as well. And at the very end, we see that Iyanu has to go beyond the forest walls, the outer walls of Elu, of their entire society. And that's where she meets the panther, the jaguar, whatever it is. And we know what's going to happen for that because of the opening. But, anyways, she's the last of her tribe. They were banished to the forest because they were seen as dangerous, I guess. And somehow she's taking care of Iyanu. We don't entirely know how she found Iyanu. It's specifically and purposefully left vague. Meanwhile, in the city, there's a new king who seems to be kind of against the old king's policies that were favoring and helping out the lesser of the town, of the city, of the kingdom, whatever you call it. The disenfranchised and everything. The new king and most of the counselors there are against this, but there's one counselor who's just like, I'm a good guy. I'm going to fight for the people and everything. But all the others keep like dragging him down because of it. And it's just, you've seen this before. You've seen this kind of dynamic in like kingdom politics within a series before. It's nothing new, and you kind of know how it's going to go. The good one is going to be proven right. Others are going to start seeing his side of things. Yada yada. Um, the voice acting was fine. I had no issue with the voice acting, though a couple of the characters sounded a little off. Again, the bully, like the way he was enunciating things sounded off at certain points. It's like it sounded like he had the same inflection for everything he was saying, no matter what emotion he's supposed to be conveying in the moment. And it made me really confused as to what emotion he's supposed to be portraying at any given moment. Um, so yeah, there's that aspect of things. Um, the music was good, and I like the lore. I just wish it was like spread out a little better and told a little better instead of just kind of like rushing it through with expositional dialogue. But the biggest issue is absolutely the way it looks. It just looks so bad. Again, not in terms of the art style, but specifically the animation. The characters are fine for now. None of them really stand out. Iyanu seems very generic and kind of bland, but she might develop more as the series progresses. The warrior priestess woman who was watching over her, again, a very standard mentor figure. Not a lot of uniqueness there. The character who's most interesting to me is the kid who was being bullied. I feel like he's obviously going to be a big character, probably going to be friends with Iyanu. I'm definitely thinking that he's the most interesting, most unique character of the bunch so far. A lot of it otherwise seems to be very much the same shit that we've seen in so many other shows, just it delivered in a different way. And I'm just not super impressed. I'm like not really invested in this. There's some good things about it, like with, again, the general idea of the story and the lore and all is cool. But then you get into the depths of it and realize it doesn't really have much of any depth. And it's super generic and bland and kind of a little boring. But then there's some cool moments and whatnot. Even if it was poorly animated, shooting the arrow and everything was really cool. The idea of it, at least. Um, I just kind of wish there was more to this. I really do. But it is the first episode, so maybe it will improve. Um, my thoughts on it, like I said, we are going to continue. I'm going to give it a couple more episodes, and like one or two more episodes, something like that. Maybe upwards of three, depending on how they go. Um, and we're gonna kind of determine from there what I think of it, because I feel like the first episode might just be not as good, and maybe it'll improve. I'm hoping, at least. Um, yeah, I wasn't vibing with this one as much as I was hoping to. It could be worse. It's not the worst thing I've seen by any means, but I feel like it needs a lot of improvement, and I hope it gets it. So we'll see. But tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments below, and we will now move on to the next reaction and the next portion of the afterthoughts. So let's get into it. And we are back with the Devil May Cry portion of the afterthoughts. If you are looking for the Iyanu portion of the afterthoughts, you're in the wrong place. Very easily, just go down in the description below and find the right timestamp, or check the progress bar here on the video itself. It'll lead you where you need to go. But if you are here for the Devil May Cry portion of the afterthoughts, we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah, this was fantastic. I love the energy it has, because it's like there's obviously very serious moments and a lot of like really cool action, which Studio Mir does really well at here. But we also have like humor and some things that are even just so absurd that it's kind of funny. Like the president's just appearance, like the overweight Texan with the like high pitched voice and the mustache and the cowboy hat. It's like, that's just really funny. That's just really fucking funny to me. That's the president. Um, but then you have like the baby being a demon, shapeshifter. I what happened to the real baby is the question, I guess. Probably dead. Kind of sad, but excuse me. You have Dante and his personality, which is pretty fun. You have a lot of setup. The voice acting is all fantastic. You got a lot of great VAs in here. Obviously, Johnny on Bosch is phenomenal. Like, he's always great, though. But, like, Ryan Colt Levy is, I think, fairly new, because he was Denji in Chainsaw Man. I think that was his first big breakout role, if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm glad to see him getting more roles here. And we have just some really cool moments in this. The White Rabbit is a really interesting villain. I don't know if he's in the games or not, so I don't know if there's precedence to that or if it's like an original character for this series. But it's like, I didn't see. I'm gonna mute this, obviously. So the White Rabbit was Hoon Lee. I thought it was like, I thought the White Rabbit was Crispin Freeman. I was so sure on that. I was completely wrong. I don't know who Hoon Lee is, though. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Hoon Lee. I want to see if I know him for anything. Okay. Oh, apparently he's Splinter in the 2012 TMNT and Shredder in Rise of the TMNT. So that's really interesting. Um, that he played both Splinter and Shredder, if nothing else. He has not been in a lot. He was in the 2020 Mulan remake as the village magistrate. And he's in the 2023 Monkey King movie as well. That's the Netflix one. He's been in like quite a few shows. It looks like White Collar, Archer. Apparently, he was in an episode of Hawaii Five O, Iron Fist, but nothing I would like really know him for. Well, apparently he voiced Splinter in a few TMNT video games as well. Yeah, there's not really anything I would know him for. He just, I guess, sounded kind of like Crispin Freeman there. I really thought that was him too. I wonder if there was like inspiration in the voice taken there. Um, but yeah, Crispin Freeman or not Crispin Freeman. Kevin Conroy was a character named Baines, as well as a passerby in this. Um, I'm not sure who Baines was. Like, I might not get all the names down real quick. Oh, the vice president. He's the vice president. Kevin Conroy is the VP. That's really great. I will absolutely be able to hear it next time I listen to that. Yeah, John Grease was the late night host and another character there. Um, oh, President Hop. Oh, the president was John Grease. That's funny too. John Grease is a fun actor. Roger Jackson, by the way, is Ghostface's voice actor, specifically the voice of Ghostface. Not whichever person is playing the whoever the human in Ghostface. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. The voice, the standard Ghostface voice that you know and love is Roger Jackson. Robbie Damon is Virgil. He's been in everything. He's a really big name. He's like Fushiguro from Jujutsu Kaisen, among many, many other things. I think he voices Tuxedo Mask in the newer dub of Sailor Moon. And Erica Lindbeck obviously is Luna, among, again, many other things. She was the mother, she was the waitress, and the female news anchor. So that's pretty funny as well. Um, but yeah, pretty damn good cast here, and I'm sure we're gonna get even more great cast members as it goes along. But I really enjoyed this. I like the action. I like the animation. Studio Mirror did a fantastic job with that. I like the characters so far. They're really interesting. And I like how we're seeing a couple different sides of this. We're seeing, obviously, Dante, who's our kind of main character here, Demon Hunter and all. But we're also seeing, like, the U.S. government and everything getting involved. We're seeing, like, demonologists and demon hunters and informants and whatnot. Obviously, we get to see the White Rabbit, our presumably main villain for at least this season. Presuming there's going to be more than one season, I have no clue. But yeah, this is like a very strong start. Like, I'm really into this. Um, I really hope the entire thing ends up being as good as this. I love the little call outs to things too in this, like calling out, making fun of Fox News and whatnot. Like, that was really funny. That was really goddamn funny. Excuse me. But yeah, I love this, and I can't wait to see more. But we'll talk more about this in the final afterthoughts, my final conclusions to both of these reactions. So I'll see you at that one. And welcome to the final closing thoughts of this first impression showdown. And let's be honest, it was a blowaway. This wasn't even a question for me. And it really sucks too, because I was like super excited for Iyanu. It looked so good, but then the actual product is like so poorly animated and just not well handled. And I'm still gonna give it a chance, but we're going to start with Devil May Cry. So Devil May Cry will continue right away next week. And we'll go and watch we'll watch Iyanu after. Once we finish Devil May Cry, we'll switch over to Iyanu. I'll give it another chance with like maybe episode 2, 3, so on. But it does need to improve. It has a lot of work to do because it's not good with that first episode. It has so much potential, has so much great like aspects in it that just aren't being fully capitalized on because of the, poor animation, the rushed pacing, etc., etc. So I really hope they can manage to pull off like a sort of redemption here. I really do hope they can. Because I want this show to be a success for a number of reasons. It feels like it would be a really important show for people to be able to see. With just its, lore and, culture and whatnot to discuss. But it just, if it's not well made, that's not going to help things. And it's not going to help a lot of companies and studios and whatnot into wanting to take on more projects like this. Because they're not going to want to take on projects that aren't going to be well received or aren't going to be, watched. So hopefully it ends up becoming better. But Devil May Cry had a really strong first episode. And so, yeah, like I said, we will be continuing with that right away. Episode 2 will be next week because we'll be adding it to the Monday schedule. So hopefully it ends up just continuing to be this damn good. Also, I do really like the opening with Rollin' by Limp Bizkit, or whatever the song is actually called. I don't know if that's the actual title. Like I said, I'm not a big Limp Bizkit fan, but it's like, I enjoy that song for as goofy as it is. And, I just love the visuals of the opening, too. Like, the visuals of the opening are phenomenal. So that definitely impressed, if nothing else. But the rest of it obviously was great too. And I hope we just get so many more cool action scenes and fights and whatnot. I can't wait to see Dante fighting the White Rabbit. That's going to be cool. Interesting lore though. Finding out that apparently the demons are like they come from the same root ancestor as humans, as Homo sapiens. That's a unique twist. So that all being said, though, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of these down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.